Well, g'day everyone. My name is Dave, welcoming you back to the Think Orange podcast, where we want to encourage, inspire, and resource you by giving you access to the speakers, thought leaders, and experts who are rethinking and reimagining the way ministry can be done. And today, we're going to discuss Christmas. That's right, Christmas. Specifically, I'm speaking with my good friend Mike Clea about a free Christmas resource we call Jingle Jam. Now, Mike is the Executive Director of Children's Strategy at Orange, and with well over a decade of hands-on family ministry experience, he knows firsthand the stress and the opportunities that come with the Christmas season. So today, Mike has something for all of you who are wondering how to best use Christmas to bring kids and families together at your church. And if you're in student ministry, we're releasing a special bonus episode of the podcast later this week outlining a free resource we've created just for students at your church. But for now, let's talk to Mike about how you can make Christmas special for the kids and families in your community. Hey, welcome, Mike. I'm so glad to have you here on the Think Orange podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad about it. Hey, today we're talking about family experience, and we're going to talk a little bit about Christmas, which, I don't know, in church world, is that an exciting thing to be talking about Christmas in October, or does fear kick in?
How can you not be excited about Christmas at any time of the year? Like, to me, it's just like Christmas is the best holiday for me. So I don't care when you start mentioning it. I would be happy to discuss programming, ideas, whatever it may be. I'm all about Christmas.
So we recently had Ashley Bohans on the podcast, who you know extremely well. And
yes.
When she was, she jumped on the Zoom call and she had a Christmas tree in the background. Mike, do you have your Christmas tree up yet?
I do not, but I am an avid Lego collector, and I went and bought the annual Winter Village set that comes out every year. We've been collecting them every year, so this is our 8th set now. I went and purchased it on October 1st, and I felt like, you know what? I'm ready for Christmas. And on the way home, I blared the station Christmas music was playing. Like, I officially am in the Christmas spirit. But no decorations yet. We got to get through Halloween, and then we'll officially transition into that. But I tip my hat to her. Christmas tree.
So Christmas came for you when the Lego stuff came out. Brilliant. I love it. Hey, so we are talking family experience, and I know that that's going to lead into Christmas. But first of all, for the people who don't know, can you explain to us exactly what family experience is?
Yes. So when we say a family experience, or you'll hear us reference it as FX, a family experience is an experience that is designed for kids and their parents. Now, oftentimes as church leaders, when we think about that, we think about that in terms of, oh, that means you bring the kids into the adult worship service. And we would say, yes and no. Yes, they're together, but they're not together in an experience that was designed for both of them in mind. That is an adult worship service designed for adults that you're putting kids into with a coloring sheet or a goodie bag. And so will they sit through it, and can they learn from it? Sure, but it's not a true shared experience. And Reggie Joyner, years ago, before they started North Point, he told the story about how a family experience came to him, is that he was wanting to do something for families in their community before the church started. And he went to a mall, which is very archaic to say right now. I totally get that. So I'm sorry, archaic reference, but he went to a mall on a Sunday afternoon, and in the food court section, there was this stage, and there was this crowd of families gathered together, and there were two guys on stage, and they were putting on a show, and they were doing interactive games with the audience, and they were doing some fun stuff, getting the kids to participate, getting parents up on stage. And it was like a 20-minute thing put on by Nickelodeon at the time. And Reggie was kind of like up at the second level of the mall, kind of looking down on it all and saying, gosh, they brought families together on a Sunday afternoon, like mid-afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock, and to sit here and have this thing, to be entertained, to laugh together, and to have this experience together. And he's like, why can't we do something like this in the church as well? And so that's where the idea of a family experience came from. And I like to liken it, you would reference Disney a lot when it comes to family experience, but I've been to Disneyland or Disney World. And if you've ever been to a Disney park, when we go now, my son is 13, my daughter is 11. my son wants to go to like Star Wars land. He wants to go ride the Millennium Falcon. He wants to do Rise of the Resistance. And my daughter wants to go over here, you know, and do princess stuff. And she wants to do other, like, they rarely want to do the same thing together. So we're always having to negotiate. Okay, we'll go here first, then we'll do your ride, and we'll do your ride. But what brings us all together is not a ride, it's the parade. And if I had to liken the FX to something, it's what Disney does with the parade. In that, it's short, it's strategic, it's interactive, there's music, it's fun, and you're participating together in that. And that when the parade is done, we all look at each other and we have a smile on our face, and, you know, we got to see the bubbles and we got to see our favorite characters. And that's where I would say, if I could define, that's what a family experience is. That's the intent of a family experience. It's an event designed for families, for parents, and for kids to do that. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned the word strategy and strategic a couple of times in that explanation. And I know for a lot of churches, you know, what you just explained might be something that we would just think of as a program, right? As a program that happens. But there is, what's the strategy behind it? What is that strategic thinking? How does a family experience, apart from putting on a great program, how does that help a church move the ball forward when it comes to family ministry and when it comes to partnering with parents?
No, that's a great question. And that's where I would say it's the practical expression of partnering with parents, because in partnering with parents, most churches are going to have some sort of take-home resource, whether it's a social media piece, a handout, or, hey, we put our video up on YouTube, go watch it. And that's great. And you should continue to do all those things. But there's something different than when I'm sitting in the environment with my kid and I'm hearing it and we're experiencing this together. And also as a parent, it gets me on the same page of what my church is talking about this month. So a church can strategically use an FX to do it once a month or once a quarter or once a year even. There's no right or wrong way to do it or time to do it. Do it whenever you can. That makes strategic sense in your calendar. But it's saying, hey, if we're going to have parents together in the same room with the kids, what are some of the things that we want to make sure parents know and don't miss out on? Now, that's not saying, hey, you know, just kind of give them go down the list of like, hey, don't forget this announcement, and this announcement, and this now. But it's like, hey, if there's one or two things that we wanted to make sure parents understood, we're going to do this one time a year. Or if we're going to do this every month, I would always bring it back to, hey, this is what we're talking about this month with your kids. We're talking about this life app of honesty, and we're taking a look at these stories. And parents, we just want you to know about it. And as you go home today, we want you to know about this. And when your kid comes home with this paper, we want you, this month we're doing a contest. And whatever family does this, and make sure you capture it and put it on social media, use our hashtag, and we're going to give away free ice cream or something like that. So when I say strategy, it's not just putting on an environment or another event. It's saying, hey, how can we leverage this to practically partner with parents to get them on the same page with what we're trying to do as a family ministry.
Gotcha. Now you said potentially once a year, maybe potentially once a month. What I'm hearing though is you could do either, but really it might be a situation where you do it every, correct me if I'm wrong, do it every 6 weeks or so when you're starting a new series in family ministries?
Yeah, exactly. So in our curriculum, we provide you a weekly script. So if you were set up for it and you wanted to do that, you could do a weekly FX if you wanted to. Now, shooting you straight, a lot of churches aren't doing that right now because it's a little thing called a pandemic. So, but what we have done is to found churches that had said, hey, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, let's pick some strategic times where families are already looking to do something together, like Christmas or like Easter or like in the summertime. And let's focus on those times. That way we don't have to manufacture energy if we're doing this for the first time, especially to say, what's in the FX? What are we? Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a Christmas party that's big enough for the whole family. It's called this, and we'll see you on December 1st, whatever. That gives you enough information to know, oh, party, Christmas, I'm there, kind of a thing. So yeah, you can do it weekly. You could do it monthly. You could do it quarterly, or we have a few special one-off FXs that we have put together around the holidays so that churches, again, however it fits into the rhythm of your calendar, you can make it fit.
That's so good, dude. I really like the idea of that, because then it makes it, not only is the program strategic, but the timing of it becomes strategic, because we all have those ministry seasons, like you said, like during summer.
good time when parents are together, or when school goes back into session, for example. That's another time a lot of people are going back to church, or the start of a year when people are going back to church. I love that. Hey, you referenced Disney as a model, and also Nickelodeon. Obviously, we know they have big budgets, lots of resources. Is this the sort of thing that can only be done at large churches?
Yeah, no, this can be done on any scale. And I'll just give you my personal context. Before I came on staff at Orange, I was a family pastor for 10 years in Southern California. We started a church out there, and we started in a movie theater, and we started from day one just because we believed in this idea so much of partnering with families and impacting our community with families, that we wanted this to be a part of our DNA. And we had, you know, I had a couple, I think I recruited 2 other volunteers to join me, and they were helping me host to do that. I think I paid in Starbucks gift cards, one person to come help sing a song for us to do that. And then we had a big old black curtain, and that was our set. And we had our logo that was on there. But we went in there, we popped up the thing, and we got up there and sang a song, and then we got up there and we did our skits and stuff like that. It almost was reminiscent of going back to Reggie's story of in the mall, Nickelodeon. It wasn't a full production. Like, it was a simple stage that you would see at a mall, and there was a little backdrop, and then these guys just got up there. And the magic was in the intentionality and engaging with families and having fun and getting them to do stuff together. That was the magic. It wasn't a slick production, lot of light. Like, we had none of that stuff for 2.5 years when we were doing our own FX, and Reggie would tell you the same thing when they were starting Kid Stuff Light. It started so bare bones, and then it grew into stuff where you could add some fun physical environment stuff. But you do not need that. You do not need an army of people. I mean, again, it's the FX is built around really 2 people. It's a credible host and a comic host, where it's almost like a brotherly relationship where they come out there and talk about stuff, and the comic host is obviously credible, or the credible host is obviously credible. You can believe what he says. And the comic host is like the little brother who's trying to learn something but gets it wrong, then he gets it right eventually to do that. So if you have 2 volunteers, if you have if you have a room to do it in, you could do this outside. We've seen churches do this. Speaking of Christmas time, there was a church that their community did an annual Christmas tree lighting at their outdoor mall. Again, I'm saying mall a lot, like those are whatever you want to call it, outdoor shopping center, whatever it is. But they used to do like pre-service entertainment before Santa came to light the Christmas tree. And they went to the mall manager and said, hey, we do this thing called the FX. What's the FX? Well, it's kind of like Disney. Oh, we like Disney. Yeah. And we tell the Christmas story and have some fun, sing some Christmas songs. And they're like, yeah, can we do that for you? We'll take care of all the stuff. Well, yeah, come on, do that. Partnered with their mall. They put on an FX at Christmas time, and there was 1,000 people from the community there.
Wow.
To see, not for them, for the Christmas tree, and to see Santa. And oh, by the way, we got to go up there and tell you about Jesus. We got to talk to you about the Christmas and what the tree meaning is. And there was no strings attached. There was no, whatever. And it's just like that stuff is like, I love that. There's another church that does an FX, and they started off in their church in a little corner of their sanctuary where they did it for a few families, but they really had a heart to reach their community. And they went to their local theater, and this is like in the mountains of North Carolina. So it's way, way out there. But they partnered with other churches to get things that they didn't have. Like, well, we don't have this person. This church does. You know what? What if we, once or twice a year, what if we came together at our local community center so that there was no, turf wars of like, it's got to be at my church, it's got to be at my church. No, this is a thing for families in the community. So let's do it in the community. And they came together and they put this thing on, and droves of families went there. And it's just like, see that's it right there. That's what you're shooting for.
They're great vision statements, vision stories for churches. So it's not just about having it in your church. You can actually use this as an outreach event. And I love the idea that you can do it with just 2 people, because for a lot of churches, resources aren't huge. So to have those minimal resources is a great thing as well. And I'm assuming, before we start talking about Christmas a little bit, I'm preparing our listeners for the fact that we're going to talk about Christmas, because I know that can be super stressful. So listeners, in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking about Christmas. But I'm assuming that, this family experience, this is something where we provide scripts. Orange provides all the rundown details of everything. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So for our curriculum partners, it is in a folder called FX. And in that folder is everything you need, from your script to your tech sheet to your supply list, to we supply you the song for the month to do that. So all you really have to do is, again, we encourage everybody, don't just download it and use it as is. You're the last layer of editing with any of our curriculum, because you know your context better than we know your context. And so we would say read through it. And the beautiful thing is that we try to make it gray, not orange, so that you can beef it up if you want to and add to it. You can tone it down. You can say, I don't like that part, but I like this part over here. Well, let me move this. And we would say, move it, shake it, however you want to do it, because it needs to be something that fits your context. So yes, everything is provided that you need. All you need to do is insert human bodies for people to play the certain roles to do that.
So we provide Orange provides the content, you provide the context. Is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
So we can change it.
Correct.
And I just want to underline something else. If I'm a leader at a church now, if I'm the family ministries pastor at a church right now that uses Orange, what I'm hearing you say is, I already have family experience content.
Yep. Here's what I would say. You're missing it, is what you're doing. Because when you open up a month of curriculum for in the 252 curriculum, what you're probably going to, as you should, is that you're going to the content you need for Sunday, which is found in your groups folder. Then you're going to the parent folder, because that's where your take-home stuff and your social media plan. So you've probably seen it time and time again. It's called Family Experience, FX in parentheses, but you don't know what it is, and it's not a felt need. But I'm telling you, there's gold there, and there are resources there that will help you if you want to entertain doing some sort of a family experience for the first time. So yeah, it's there. It is there for you.
That's awesome. Now, you talked about Christmas multiple times. I want to start talking about Christmas. And I know for a lot of people in church ministry, Christmas is that time where, when somebody brings it up, you get a bit twitchy and you start scratching because you get nervous about the fact that Christmas is coming. Mike, if I go into that folder right now and I see the Christmas family experience, is it too late for me as a church leader of a church of 200 people, 400 people, is it too late for me to start now to get my Christmas family experience up and running?
It's never too late. Never too late. No. Again, what we would say is that I would encourage you in your December material, you can go and look at it. And if you don't subscribe to Orange Curriculum, we believe in the Christmas one so much that we have made it available for free to anyone. So if you're not a curriculum subscriber, you just go to jinglejamfx.com, jinglejamfx.com, and you can download the free event that is found in the curriculum. So again, don't want to hear, well, we don't subscribe to Orange. Doesn't matter. You don't need to. It's free. It's free for everybody. But if you go there and download it, I would just encourage you to give it a try. Read through the material, look at what is there, and visualize what could we do at Christmas for our families. Because I promise you, here's the thing, is that, you mentioned like church leaders get a little nervous, a little twitchy. Why is that? It's because they feel the pressure that, guess what? We have to do something for families.
Yeah, something big,
whether that's
too,
a traditional, whether it's traditional Christmas pageant, or we have to do a big snowball fight, or we have to do there's the pressure to say you have to do something. And we knew that was there, which is why we said, if we're going to create an event that we're going to give away for free to everybody, we want to do it around the time that makes the most sense. And Christmas is that time, because more than likely your senior leadership, your senior pastor, your elders are probably saying, hey, we need to do something for the family. So why not, instead of doing something random, let's do something that makes sense and a strategic part of your plan to partner with families. So you could do Jingle Jam at the beginning of December to kind of kick off the holiday month to get families in the mood. You could do it mid-month. You could do it on a Friday night. You could do it as a part of your Sunday morning programming. We have churches that have done it before as a part of their Christmas Eve service, because the Christmas Eve service has to be different than the Christmas Day service. And so because of that, programming directors need help. It's like, oh, you could go to them and say, I've got something that's already done, and we just need to plug in some volunteers, and this could be something for the whole church. And we have seen churches take Jingle Jam, use it every which way you can possibly think of, and they have had resounding success. Like, again, families excited about it. It's always fun to see churches do it for the first time, because they're like, we're nervous.
Yeah.
We've never done this before. We've never done anything like this before. And, we've been marketing it. We've been, pitching it. We've been selling it and trying to get families there. We hope we get 50 families, maybe 30, maybe 20. And every time their minds are blown because 100 show up, 200 show up, more people than they could think of. Why is that? It's because families want something. They want a memory together to do. Yeah. If a parent doesn't think about anything intentional with their family throughout the whole year, which they don't, but there might be some, but at Christmas time, there is something that is wired in us that is like, I want to do something, whether it's go look at Christmas lights, whether it's go get hot chocolate, whether we go down and serve at the food bank. Well, I don't know, but I want something to do intentional with my family. Yeah. This is a chance for churches to do that.
And Mike, I'm hearing you say that this fits into pretty much any church context, right? Doesn't matter about size. Can I just ask a really super specific, definitely relevant to me question? Because you've referenced snowball fights and a few things like this. Does this work for churches in the Southern Hemisphere where they're experiencing summer in Christmas rather than winter?
Yes. So our FX for this Christmas, now some years we have had more wintry themes like last year, but this year it's called Jingle Jam Light Show. So if you love Christmas lights and you got a lot of them, this is right up your alley. No snow required. It is all about the lights. It's all about inflatables. It's all about that stuff right there. So yes, for our Southern Hemisphere friends, we are there thinking of you.
Now, the next question I have is, as a church leader, say I'm not using Orange, but somebody tells me the website, Jingle Jam, what was it? Can you give it again?
JingleJamFX.com.
Jingle Jam. I go to Jingle Jam FX and I'm about to download it. But the question in my head is, well, how can I trust the people who created this? Like, who are the people behind this? And what thought and what time have they put into creating this resource for me?
Yep. So we have a team that specifically writes our FX scripts. It's made up of about 3 to 4 people. Then outside of that, we have our curriculum team that works alongside them so that what we're talking about on Sundays or with the month with the kids in their small group environments, they're understanding what we're doing so that they can talk about that with the parents. Then we have our parent Q team who's a part. So you have many different, it's not coming from one writer, it's coming from several people. And not only that, we also, in addition to the free event, is that we have put together a media package. It's optional and it's an add-on for a cost to do that. But we worked with video companies and producers and directors to put some video resources together that will help take your event, to the next level on the video side of things. We put together a robust social media plan, working with our marketing department. We put together volunteer resources so that when you have your training meeting and you want to put all the stuff together, we have all that there. So all of that is found on the add-on media package. And in addition to that, because we know some churches maybe still are not meeting, we took the Jingle Jam family experience event and we did an online version of it. Because we knew that, hey, if you're live is always best, but live may not be an option where you are at. And if that's so, we don't want you to not do something for family. So we put together that experience on video, and you can use it as is and just post it to your different platforms. Or we've given you the script and you can get in front of the camera and you can record yourself doing it as well. So again, we wanted to think of everything that we could do to put together to help church leaders win with families. So whether it's just a free event that you're going to do live, or you're going to do the add-on media package, all that information and examples of all those videos are found at jinglejamfx.com.
Mike, I absolutely love that. And I know for a fact also, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know that the writers that you have are professional writers, many of whom have years and years of experience, not just in ministry, but years and years of experience in production, stage production, video production, all of those sorts of things as well, right? And the curriculum people, the curriculum team that you'll have is like, again, if you added it all up, probably 100+ years of ministry experience, hands-on ministry experience, right?
Yeah. And it's not just ministry experience. A lot of our writers and different people who contribute to the final outcome of an FX script, they're educators, theatrical people in the industry. Like I'm not smart enough to contribute to our own material. I'm just there to kind of help manage and lead, but we have people way smarter. And again, I love our team. And so, it's years of experience of not just ministry, which I think is important to say, because there's ministry experience, but there's also the educational side. There's the experience side about what, like, all those things are in the factor when we're putting together a program. So yeah,
that is so good, dude. I love that. Hey, do this one thing for me before we finish this podcast. Assume that you and I are sitting across the table from each other. We've just met each other, and you've learned that I'm a church leader, and I don't have Orange. I don't, subscribe to Orange curriculum. But you've heard me say that I'm pretty stressed about Christmas coming, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. What's the 2 or 3 sentences you would say to me to convince me to get over the line?
I would say what I've already said. And I would say, Dave, families in your church, more than that, families in your community are looking for something to do together. And you can lean into that, and you can provide the best possible experience that you can put together, or you can ignore it and they'll go elsewhere to find their experience. And wouldn't you rather try to fill that void with something that is strategic to the heartbeat of your church? If the answer is yes to that, we can figure out all the details of this, because again, this can be modified, this can be supersized, this can be shrunk down, or you can buy the media package, and that's going to help offload a lot of the stuff. And there's so many solutions, but you need to answer the why question before we talk about the how. So why would you want to do that? And that's probably where I would kind of lead with.
That's awesome, dude. Tell us one more time where we can get Jingle Jam for free.
JingleJamFX.com. You go there and you can download the free event. Also on that same site is information about the add-on media package if you are interested in that. And again, you can watch samples of all the videos, JingleJamFX.com.
Mike Clea, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for your passion around not just the FX stuff, but it's your heart comes through that you just want to help and serve the local church. So, dude, I really appreciate you. You're such a good man, and I'm so thankful that you're on our team. Appreciate your time, mate.
Thank you, man. And hey, Merry Christmas to you. I'm just saying. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Come on.
See, I was going to stop recording, but that was worth waiting for. Thanks, Mike.
Well, if that doesn't get you excited for Christmas, I don't know what will. And if you'd like to get free access to Jingle Jam, all you need to do is go to jinglejamfx.com. That's jinglejamfx.com. And because we want to serve as many churches as possible with this resource, please feel free to share that link with as many church friends as possible. That link, one more time, is jinglejamfx.com. And don't forget, for those of you in student ministry, we're releasing a special bonus episode of the podcast later this week outlining a free resource we've created just for students at your church. Well, thanks so much for listening today. My name is Dave Adamson, and remember, when you think next generation or church strategy, think orange.